My name is Violette, and I'm 28 years old. 3 years ago, my life started falling apart in a way I couldn't understand at first. Every time I thought I was finally moving forward, something invisible would pull the ground out from under me again. It all started the night I left my parents' house for good. Our relationship had never been easy, but that night the argument turned into something final, cold, sharp, and permanent. I walked out with 2 suitcases and the quiet belief that at least now I could finally build my own life. I had a degree, I had good references, I even had some savings that could support me for a few months while I searched for work. At first, everything seemed normal. My first interview went great. The manager smiled, shook my hand, and told me they'd call me soon. But they never did. Then the same thing happened with the second interview, and the third, and the fourth. Every place that had seemed excited to hire me suddenly went silent. Weeks turned into months. I kept applying, kept interviewing, kept believing that eventually something would work out. But nothing ever did. Finally, one receptionist I had spoken with before called me back after an interview. Her voice sounded nervous, almost apologetic. She said quietly, "I probably shouldn't tell you this, but your parents called here." I froze. Then she continued, "They said you had a criminal record." At first I laughed because it sounded ridiculous, but then the weight of her words settled into my chest like a stone. That's when I realized the horrifying truth. For 3 years, parents called every job I applied to, told them I had a criminal record, every interview, every application, every opportunity. They had been behind all of it, quietly destroying my future. I messaged my father immediately, hoping maybe there had been some misunderstanding. His reply came a few minutes later. It was only one sentence. "Dad, text me. Come home and apologize, and maybe I'll stop." That was the moment I understood the truth. This wasn't about protecting me. It wasn't about anger. It was about control. My parents wanted me back under their roof, under their rules, and they were willing to sabotage my entire life to make it happen. But I refused. I kept applying for jobs, hoping eventually I could outrun their lies. Instead, things only got worse. In a small town, rumors spread fast. Employers talked to each other. My name slowly became connected with something suspicious, something criminal, something nobody wanted to risk. My savings ran out faster than I expected. Rent turned into late notices turned into eviction, and before I could fully process how far everything had fallen, I was standing outside my apartment building with 2 suitcases and nowhere to go. I was homeless for 8 months. Those months felt like living inside a slow nightmare. At first I slept in my car. When I had to sell it just to survive, I slept on buses, in waiting rooms, and sometimes behind a small laundromat that stayed open late enough to feel safe. Every day I kept applying for jobs. Every day I hoped someone would see me as a person instead of a rumor. But every time I got close to being hired, something changed. An interviewer would suddenly grow distant, or I'd receive another polite email, saying they had decided to move in another direction. I knew exactly what it meant. My parents were still calling. Sometimes late at night my phone would buzz, and it would be another message from my father repeating the same cruel sentence, "Come home and apologize, and maybe I'll stop." The worst part wasn't the hunger. It wasn't the cold nights. It was realizing that the people who were supposed to protect me were the ones destroying me. After 8 months, something inside me changed. I stopped expecting help. I stopped believing things would magically improve. I focused on surviving one day at a time. Then one afternoon, everything changed. I was sitting on a bench near the bus station, trying to decide whether to spend my last few dollars on food or a shower at the gym across the street. That's when a woman approached me. She looked professional, maybe in her early 40s, holding a leather folder. She asked my name carefully. When I said Violette, her face softened with relief. She sat beside me and spoke quietly. Then a woman told me, "Your grandma hired me 10 years ago to find you. When things got bad enough, here's what she left you." For a moment I thought I had misheard her. My grandmother had passed away years ago, but she had also been the only person in my family who truly believed in me. The woman handed me the folder. My name was written across it in handwriting I recognized instantly, my grandmother's. My hands were shaking as I opened it, because suddenly it felt like every ruined opportunity, every painful moment, every night I spent homeless, had somehow led to this exact moment. And I had no idea yet that what I found inside would be something nobody in town could believe. When I opened the folder on that bus station bench, the first thing I saw was my grandmother's letter. The moment I recognized her handwriting, my chest tightened. It felt like hearing a voice I thought I had lost forever. I unfolded the paper slowly and began to read. She wrote that she had always worried about the way my parents tried to control my life. She loved them, but she had seen the pressure they put on people instead of supporting them. Then she wrote something that made my hands shake. She said she had prepared something for me, in case the day ever came when I needed a way out. Inside the folder were legal documents, bank papers,
Property records.
My grandmother had created a trust in my name years earlier. Not a small one either. It was enough money to completely change my life. But the biggest surprise was the property documents. She had purchased a commercial building in the center of town years ago and transferred ownership into the trust, and I was the beneficiary. I looked at the woman beside me, stunned. She explained that she was a private investigator. My grandmother had hired 10 years earlier. Her job had been simple: watch from a distance, and step in if my life ever reached a breaking point. Apparently, my grandmother had always believed that one day I might need help escaping my parents' influence. Even after she was gone, she had still found a way to protect me. Within 2 weeks, everything began to change. I used the trust money to rent a small apartment. For the first time in months, I had a real bed again. Soon after, I officially took control of the commercial building. Word traveled quickly through the town. The girl everyone believed had a criminal record was now the owner of one of the most valuable commercial buildings in the area. Then something happened that no one expected. My parents showed up. They walked into the building lobby looking tense and confused. Apparently, they had heard the rumors about the new owner, but they didn't believe them. Not until they saw me standing there. The silence that followed felt heavy. My father looked completely shocked. The daughter he had tried to control by destroying her life was now the owner of the building his own business rented space in. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, but no words came out. I remembered every message he had sent me. Every time my phone buzzed with the same sentence: "Come home and apologize, and maybe I'll stop." But this time things were different. I didn't yell. I didn't insult them. I simply said one thing: I survived without you, and I intend to keep living that way. Then I turned and walked back to my office, leaving them standing there in silence. That night I sat by the office window looking at the town that once believed the worst about me, and I thought about my grandmother, the one person who believed in me even when no one else did. Even after she was gone, she still saved me, and if you stayed to hear Violette's story until the end, it truly means a lot. Stories like this remind us that sometimes the people who try to break us only push us toward the life we were meant to build. So if you enjoy powerful stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay with us for the next one.